Hi, Primas. I'm Roxy.
And I'm Giselle.
And this is the For Las Primas podcast. Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone.
We are so excited you're here because today's episode is truly a special one. We're diving deep into healing, self-worth, and rewriting the narrative so many of us inherited. The one that says we have to struggle to prove that you're worthy.
That's right. So joining us is someone who embodies all that and more. Michelle Moore. She's a proud Latina, a mindset mentor, and the author of 100 Days to Self-Love, a journal that's helped so many mujeres reconnect with themselves.
Michelle isn't just about the feel-good vibes, she's about real healing. As an immigrant and someone who grew up between cultures, she deeply understands what it means to carry generational expectations while trying to love yourself through it all.
She's on a mission to help women feel worthy just as they are, without the guilt, without the hustle, and without shrinking themselves to fit into anyone else's box.
So whether you're on your own self-love journey, tired of the strong Latina label, or just need a reminder that healing is possible, this episode is for you.
So let's get into it, Primas.
Welcome, Michelle, to the pod.
I'm so excited to be here. I know I already said it, but it really does feel like I'm coming into this sacred bubble.
Oh, well, we're excited to have you and to hear about your story. So a little background, I've known Michelle for maybe 5 years now, 6 years. 6 years. So we worked together. That's kind of how our relationship started. Michelle is somebody who's always really inspired me. She has a lot of great wisdom and always shares a lot of her insights with me. And so I really look up to you, Michelle, and I'm excited to have you here today to chat with us.
Thank you. I'm excited too. That was so heartwarming. I'm like, oh.
I know we want to learn more about you and about your story. So we usually talk a lot about first gen, but I think it's a really big treat to have you here as an immigrant. So tell us about your story of how you came to the U.S.
Yeah. And it's in many ways, I do feel like first generation. And it didn't really click for me until I had my own kids and was like, oh no, now they're first generation. So I am an immigrant. I was born in Venezuela, moved to Miami, Florida when I was 2 years old. So really feel like first gen because of that experience. However, keep in mind, y'all know it's Miami, so you're still kind of like in a different world.
You're still in Latin America for all.
Right, like everybody still speaks Spanish.
Yeah. Coming at 2, pretty much are first gen.
Around 9-10 years old, we left Miami for Tampa, and that was a very big cultural shift. And at that point, I would tell people in Tampa, they'd say, where, oh, you speak Spanish. Where are you from? Venezuela. Oh, Minnesota? To them, Tampa at that time, if you were Latin, you were Puerto Rican, Cuban, or Mexican. And nothing else really existed. Slowly we started diversifying. So it was really weird. It was a very strange transition moving, and obviously culturally for other reasons, moving from Miami to Tampa. But the string that kind of kept me grounded to my roots was every summer, like many of us, I was really fortunate that I got to go back to Venezuela for 2 months. And, back in those days, parents ship you off. You would fly on a plane by yourself. Somebody would pick you up. And there was no cell phone, no internet, maybe talk to mom once a week. You're hanging out with the cousins. And I was watching my 3 channels of TV and taking cold showers and no AC.
What is the reason your family immigrated to the U.S. in the first place?
Many of us, Venezuela was doing pretty good at that time. But my mom loved American culture, and she actually went to university here. She went to St. Pete for Eckerd College, Giselle knows, for her degree. So she always knew she wanted to come back, and the opportunity arose. So, we went. And my mom, if you ever get to meet her, is a cake. She's very bougie. She was meant to be in the States. She was not meant for that South American life.
So I feel like all of our moms now are super bougie, and I don't know if it's trauma from where they grew up that now they're
For her, it definitely is trauma. She's like, that is not where I came from. That is not me.
Okay, Cuban moms and Venezuelan moms need to be studied in a control group together, because that sounds just like our moms, actually. Oh, yeah. Well, that's awesome. So then living in Miami, it's such a different world once you get north of West Palm Beach. It's a very different vibe. I know Tampa is historically does have like that Puerto Rican, Cuban culture, like you mentioned. What were some things that felt hard? 9 is an age where you're like prepubescent for all, right? So what were some of the things that you noticed that made you feel different, or where you noticed that you were not like everyone else?
Yeah, great question. And it's funny because when we're young, we experience these things, but we don't know how to name them. And then now, as grown women, and because so much awareness has been brought to this topic, I hear other people's stories and I'm like, oh, that's what it was. Or like, that's why I felt so different. Because in my mind, I was the weirdo. I was the outlier. And another fun fact to add to my immigration trauma. So I have a sister, and as I mentioned, my mom came to the US for college and then went back. So my sister's 4 years older than me and was actually born in St. Pete. My mom had her in St. Pete and then went back to Venezuela, had me, and then we ended up coming back. So my whole life, or when I was growing up, my sister called me the alien because she was a US citizen and I was not.
Oh my God. I think sister trauma doesn't have its own set of issues. Oh my God.
Right. So I was like, oh, I'm different and I don't belong. And luckily back then, I didn't have this worry like I'm going to get kicked out of the country, because I can't even imagine all of that happening right now and my sister calling me an alien. That would have been crazy. But as any teenager, regardless of what your, skin, ethnicity, whatever color is, you feel different. And everybody feels different for different reasons. And myself, I realized when I was in Tampa, I wasn't white enough for the white people, even though I'm white Hispanic. And I was not brown enough for the Latin people. My sister is also Afro Latin. So she really fit in well with the Latin community. And I just felt like I didn't have any friends. And, eventually we all make our own friends. But that was really weird. And I know a lot of Black people growing up talk about code switching. Like, I definitely felt like when I'm with this group of people, I have to speak a certain way. When I'm with that group, I have to speak another way. And lost in all that was, who am I really? And it took me a long time, I would say until very recently, to really learn how to be Latin in America and how to belong to myself first.
This is so beautiful. Yes.
I feel like a
Yes,
lot of people
me and
can.
Giselle are just like nodding our heads.
Yeah, because listening and I'm like, yes, totally. I have felt that way growing up. And then I just think a lot of people can resonate with that feeling of you're not white enough to hang out with the white kids and you're not brown enough to hang out with the brown kids.
This like reminds me of when I moved from New Jersey to Weston, Florida, which wasn't quite Miami, but it's called Westonzuela for a reason. There's a lot of Venezuelan and Colombian kids, and I spoke Cuban Spanish at home. So it wasn't even like I didn't have any type of like a like education and learning proper Spanish. So I get to the school and these kids are like, habla español, ¿verdad? I'm like, I think so. I'm not sure actually if I do or don't, but that really like resonates, because even though we speak the language, sometimes you're not even fluent enough for the people who speak the language. So there is this concept of not being enough in so many aspects of that phrase for first gen in the US. So I think that was really perfectly said, Michelle. And as we fast forward to where you are today, what are some things that you have found that you have had to unlearn from your upbringing?
Oh, girl. How long do we have?
Top three. Top three.
Okay. Well, I have to say, Roxy, you're the one that recommended Badass Bonita to me, right? Amazing book. I think every Latin person, well, I guess woman, but really, I just feel like there's so much stuff about our culture in there that every Latin person should read it, whether you are a Latina or you're living with one or supporting one, because she really articulated so many things that I struggled with and had to unlearn. On this healing journey, there's a lot of things and a lot of moments that have come up for me where I'm like, do I really need to unlearn this, or am I being selfish? Like, where is that line? And what I've noticed is a lot of times when I feel selfish, there's some sort of cultural norm that I have to unlearn. And one of my favorite lines from that book, I'll like never forget it, because when I read it, it was like, shot in the heart. Calladita te ves más bonita. our whole life, obviously every family is unique, but for the most part, culturally, we are told just shut up and look pretty and keep the peace. Support whatever is happening in your family, support your family, don't complain about it, and look as pretty as you can while doing it. That was a lot of unlearning for me. And that right there, that's like my top 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because it's so much in that one sentence that I had to let go of.
And even just the concept of te ves más bonita, it's like we're always being judged on our appearances and how we look, and forget about opening your mouth. What comes out of your mouth is so judged, no matter whether it's happy, not happy, aggressive, whatever you feel.
When you're talking about like being selfish, I think that is something that we learned culturally as women. Anything that you do for yourself is automatically labeled as selfish. So then like now we get to the point where we're adults and we're like, okay, if this is selfish, like in a negative connotation, instead of being like, okay, no, I need to do this for myself and to take care of myself.
Yeah, the matriarch in the Latin household is she's a martyr. She is a martyr, and she's strong, and she's beautiful, and she never complains, and dot 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 dot. So that's a lot of unlearning that we have to let go of.
Michelle, you're a mom, I'm a mom. I talk a lot about this with other friends that actually aren't even first gen. One of my girlfriends specifically, she'll be like, I asked my mom, I'm like, why didn't you tell me this whole thing was so hard? Why didn't you tell me that I was going to feel trapped in my life? And she's like, and it's rude to say, like, you're not allowed to say that you feel trapped by your children. She's like, but sometimes I feel trapped. And her mom responded with, I didn't even think about it. We just did it. I just knew that when I came home after working 8 hours, I needed to make food because you guys would be hungry. I needed to take you to sports. And so I think this is like the first generation of women that is honest about what it means to be a woman nowadays. And on top of that, a mother. And it's okay for us to not like every aspect of those parts of our life. Going back to the selfish, is that considered selfish of you to think that way? Versus men can clean their hands and not have to claim any responsibility. And shout out to the dads doing it, because there's a lot of dads that are out there doing the work. But historically, that's just been what women have had to put up with, because it's just what you do.
Yeah, I think this generation really gets to choose. Like previously, we always had to be so strong. And if you know an old school Latin mom, she is strong. My good friend, they used to call his mom, or he used to call his mom the general. Like that's the stereotype. And for the first time, our generation, we get to be soft. We get to decide if we want to be strong and when, and then also to rest, to know our worth, like to take up space, to ask for things, ask for help. I remember meeting men who had never changed a diaper in their life. And it wasn't even like they were trying to brag about it. It was just like, no, why would I ever change a diaper? That's what the woman is for. And now, Roxy, like, I know your partner is amazing, and I'm sure he's changed a lot of diapers in his lifetime. Like, it's just so wonderful to see us get to where we are now. And I know we still have a long way to go, but wow, like we get to be that generation.
Yeah. For how hard it feels right now in our country and the world, this is the best time to be a woman. And I tell everybody that. And that's like my silver lining for all of the things that are going on, is like, well, actually, this is the best time to be a woman. There's more women in leadership positions. There's more women who are working mothers by choice. There are more women who are not working mothers by choice, right? Like there's, again, choice being at the forefront of all of these decisions. We can make our own choices, which is more than I know my own mom probably had. Speaking of moms, what kind of things did you grow up with? Like what customs or what traditions did you guys have that you either love and are sharing with your own kids, or you're like, no, thank you, I'm good?
So sweet that you said love or
Love or hate.
Man, there's a lot of the typical things, but one memory that I distinctly have growing up, and I know it's going to resonate with you guys. Every Saturday, I was scrubbing the grout with a toothbrush, cleaning on hands and knees, like deep cleaning the house. That was just like what we did on the weekends. And it's funny because now I see not just my kids, but all my friends with kids on Saturdays, they're like, we got to go to soccer camp and we got to go here and we're going here and we're doing this. I'm like, Saturdays were for cleaning when I was growing up. There was no camp. There was no dance class. It's like, here's your rubber gloves, go scrub, the bathroom. Hey, for the record, I hate that memory.
Was that a 7 a.m. thing that happened on Saturdays?
Like you wake up, I look back, I'm like, did she even feed us breakfast? I don't know. I just know I was like inhaling Clorox.
That's a good point.
I don't remember eating. I don't remember taking a break. I do remember the smell of the bleach and my knees burning from scrubbing sugar out.
Yo, so much bleach. It's crazy. We were like the bleach generation. No wonder we're stressed all the time. I think the bleach has to play a role. Yeah, we really resonate with that as well. What about like something that was like a happy memory that you're like, wow, I think about this and it reminds me of like happy things from my childhood?
One of the things I always appreciated about my family was our ability to just hang out and be in the same space without doing nothing. There was no planned itinerary. We didn't have to be doing anything. Just being together was enough. But a memory that I have that just popped into my head when I thought of that is my grandmother would come visit us during the school year when we couldn't go over there. And every time she came, it was a big deal. One, because she could cook, and my mom cannot cook. Like, she can't make a sandwich. I love her. If you're watching, I love you, Mom. But she already knows. She's not even embarrassed about it. Everybody knows. So it was like, we're going to eat good. Abuela's coming. Like, yes. And then the other thing is she would come with like huge suitcases of like Venezuelan chocolates and treats and snacks. And I don't even know if she bought them at the airport. They could have been American. Like, I don't know, but I just know she was coming with special treats, and it made me so happy.
The abuelas. I feel like I wish I had my grandmothers now as this age versus when I was little. We get so much love from my grandparents, and we get just something different about the Latina abuelas. I'm going to say it. Controversial opinion, but they are just built different. They're made different. They love their grandkids so much. And I don't know what my life would have been like without my abuela Mima. There was just this love. She always had these little like coffee candies in her like little purse. So shout out to all the abuelas.
Me and my cousins were all raised by our abuelas and our tia abuelas. They really are the ones that raised, because all our parents were working like 24/7.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We have like, multiple abuelas.
Yeah, exactly.
Even like your like grandma's friend who's not really related to you, that's like an abuela. So I have the pleasure of having been able to work through your journal, the 100 Days of Self-Love. For those of you who haven't heard of it, get on it. It's on Amazon. And it gives you a prompt every day that you can use to reflect on your own relationship with yourself. So tell us a little bit about how you got there and what inspired you to take the leap and build the journal.
Yep. Like a lot of healing journeys, it started with heartbreak. And something that was helping me work through my heartbreak was I started journaling more. I started, through that journaling, writing down the words that I really needed to like tell myself. As I mentioned earlier, my whole life was about being strong, and it was really giving myself permission to be soft and to figure out, why was that so hard for me? So as I started healing and I started writing these mantras and repeating these mantras to myself, that just really helped me. After maybe about a year, I was like, wow, I actually have a lot of these, and I think they could help someone else. And because I'm kind of OCD, I couldn't just share the mantras. I had to make it into a whole thing. So I categorized them. Yeah, we made it into a journey. It's 100 days, by the way. There's a lot of conflicting research on how many days it takes to form a new habit. The harder the habit is for you, the longer it will take. But the consensus across the board is pretty much if you do something every day for 100 days, it's going to be sticky. So if you change the way that you talk to yourself for 100 days, you will be a different person at the end of the 100 days. So that's why it's 100 days. And it's really the aftermath of my healing journey and me wanting for women to pour into themselves the same way that I was learning to pour into myself. And I think the way that a lot of us need permission to pour into ourselves. I mentioned, being selfish earlier. So it's like, just giving you a reason to let go of all those reasons to stop neglecting yourself and start focusing on you.
It's so powerful. And I guess for someone who has a lot of responsibilities, is not in a position where she can really be soft, right? Or doesn't know how. I feel like none of us were really taught that. What advice do you have for just getting started or for starting to have those conversations with themselves?
Man, that's a great question. I think one is like you have to be really honest with yourself. So I've noticed two things that are really necessary on this journey of mine, at least, but I think it's pretty, standard across the board. One, you have to be brutally honest with yourself. I see so many people stuck because they're not willing to look at what's there. Tip number two, you have to be radically accountable. So, where do you need to really look at what you're doing and have an honest conversation with yourself about whether it's aligned or not aligned to who you want to be or what you want your life to look like or taking you to where you want your dreams to take you? And then it has to be followed up by action. So once you see that truth, you have to hold yourself accountable and follow through with action. What do you need to change? What do you need to let go of? What do you need less of? What do you need more of? And those are really hard conversations for people to have with themselves. So hopefully the journal, can help. It goes through different pillars for a reason because I want you to discover like where are those areas in your life that maybe need a little more attention. Therapy is great, but I always say like if you go to a therapist and you don't know what your problem is, it's really hard to work through some things. We could have some big blind spots. So I think, wherever you are is fine and exactly where you're supposed to be, but at some point you need to move forward and figure out what that step is going to look like.
That is great advice. And I love the being radically accountable because I think to your point where people can get stuck or where I have felt stuck is like, it's easy to blame your parents, right? It's easy to say, I never saw my parents have a healthy relationship, so therefore I will never have a healthy relationship, right? Like using that as an example, it's like, no, you need to rewrite your own narrative for what you want your relationships to be, and then you will have what it is that you're looking for. And I also really love your journal because manifestation through words and through writing is so important. And it gives an opportunity for you to not just rewrite your narrative, but rewrite what you want out of your life, which it takes prompting and it takes time. It's not something you're going to discover, to your point, if you go to therapy, in one therapy session, right?
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to make the first step because you can be like, okay, yeah, I have these problems, but that's just how I am. And then just continue to live your life like that. And it's hard to make that first step of like, okay, I'm going to be better. I'm going to change. I'm going to love myself and accept myself. That's a big thing too. Like, I think a lot of people just can't like accept like their flaws and they just want to like brush it under the rug or whatever.
So good. I was like, yes, they don't want to be accountable.
Therapy has taken a long time for you to get like.
Yeah, it's taken a long time, and then it's just like looking in the mirror and then a lot of self-reflection and then doing something about it and not just being like, okay, like this is what it is. Like I feel like I want to buy that book and I'm going to buy one for my husband.
Yes. Yes. I always really admire Michelle because you hold yourself accountable to promises you make to yourself. Like I think about your workout journey is always really inspirational to me, and how you consistently showed up for yourself. You consistently work out and you find ways to move your body, but it took you being really committed initially to even get where you are now. So how do you keep promises to yourself?
It's a great question. So, one, I just want to say it's so important, like so important to have integrity in your word. And you have to keep your promises to yourself because that's how you trick yourself into thinking you can do anything you want to do. When you win those little promises, it's training your brain that if you say something, it's going to happen. So it's so important, if you say you're going to wake up at 6 a.m. every day this week, to wake up at 6 a.m. because those little things are keeping promises to yourself. The other thing is, my movement journey really just started as it was the catalyst after my heartbreak to say, like, I'm not okay with someone having this much control over me. Like, I'm not okay with somebody. I mean, I was a hot mess. Like, I on my kitchen floor, randomly crying and bawling out of nowhere, like overwhelmed with sadness and feelings of abandonment. But the real abandonment was me. Like I abandoned myself and I let someone have all this power over me that never should have had that power over me. And one of the ways that I saw to never let that happen again was through movement. And I really wanted to get committed to myself because my whole life I never really appreciated physical exercise. And I just had a feeling like if I can commit to this and if I can do this, I know other things are going to be better because of it. And in the beginning, I want to talk about the transition because this is where like our cultural norms are really good and then also where we have the power to kind of change it. So in the beginning, it was like I am strong. I am going to do this regardless of how I feel or whatever. Like I am so good at saying suck it up and get out of bed. I'll have 10,000 excuses every morning to not go work out. I'm going to do it anyway. Eventually, I discovered I had an autoimmune disorder. It was getting really, really hard for me to give myself that kick in the morning, and I knew something was wrong. And part of that and managing that is getting my hormones under control and listening to my body. For so long, my mind was telling my body what to do, and I was neglecting the feedback that my body was giving me. So now I'm in the phase of my healing journey where I am still moving every day, but I am listening to what my body wants and craves on that day. And I am becoming soft because of it. And it is so different for me. Something that comes so easily to others is so hard for me. But now I just am really, really fortunate that I'm really learning to listen to my body and be soft. And my advice, if you're struggling, you don't know how to start, is one, start small, but also keep in mind it may not look how you think it has to look. So I think most of us know a lot of people don't go to the gym because they say they don't have time. Okay, because they think I need to spend an hour at the gym to get some sort of result from it. Well, that's a lie. That's just a lie. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's made up.
Corporate gyms put this lie out there so that people will buy subscriptions and go for an hour or not go and still pay for the gyms.
So figure out what can you realistically commit to. Is it a walk outside for 15 minutes a day? Because you have to like put it on the calendar, you have to build it into your routine. And it could be so small. And then once you make that commitment, okay, now how can I level up? And everything is levels. That's another thing I'm learning as like the older I get, everything is levels. Like, oh, you thought your nutrition was here, now we're going to take it here. Oh, you thought your fitness was here, now we're going to take it here. You have to remember there's someone at a level higher than you.
Yeah, and they've been doing it longer and they've been committed to it longer. I love this whole perspective. And I think a heartbreak or like a career shift or anything big in life where you don't feel aligned, it's such a great time to self-reflect and think like, what's happening here? Something in me has changed. I'm not the same person I was maybe when I started this job, and my feelings about it have changed. What is my next step? And you can't get anywhere in life, relationships, career, life moves, where you live, like all of those things, you can't get ahead if you don't have those super honest conversations with yourself. So that is all very good advice.
Yeah, I want to point out like something you just said that it's so prevalent with Latinas too. You started out that job as one person. Now maybe you've changed. It's not meeting your needs anymore. But our culture says, shut up, be grateful, stay in that job. Like, how dare you question this job? How dare you say it's not enough for you anymore? How dare you ask for more?
Yep, you're so right.
I remember when I was like trying to like change, I was doing bedside nursing for like ever. And that's like, you go to nursing school and you expect that you're going to work in a hospital and this is just what you're going to do. And I remember being so burnt out and just telling like another one of my Latina coworkers, and I was just like, man, like this just isn't it, you guys. And they're like, well, this is just what it is. And like, you're not going to find better out there. And I remember thinking to myself, no, like, I want this. This is the ideal, and just like manifesting like my ideal like nursing job.
And now she's a nurse practitioner. Yeah,
I know. I was gonna be like, what was it?
But now I'm a nurse practitioner. Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And I think we have that privilege, again, going back to like women of this generation, but also Latina women of this generation. We have privileges that our parents didn't have, and they had to put up with so much more than we have because they set us up so that we could have the privilege of choice. Which sometimes they don't like. They don't love that we have all these opinions all the time. That thanks to their sacrifices, obviously, we are able to choose and select what, not just what job we want, but how we tolerate people treating us, what language people use towards us, like all of those
Well,
things.
I just started thinking, first of all, if I asked my mom for advice at that moment, I didn't, knowing that she would be like, oh, like, suck it up. But second, I just started thinking, like, do you think a man is gonna like sit here and be sucking it up and taking this? Like, no.
They're going to apply for a job they're not qualified for and probably get it.
And get it. Yeah, exactly.
One of my favorite lines is, "I am my ancestors' wildest dream and their unfinished healing." So every time stuff like that comes up, I'm like, that's it. I'm like, this is why we have to fix it so that nobody after me ever has to like deal with this. Like, we're not just healing us, we're healing the future lineage, whether you have kids or not, it's happening. And it's just wild. Some of those things like that, like how we would even consider that it's normal to wake up every day and hate going to work and have guilt over like, oh, I should feel, like happy just because I have a job.
Yeah. They just didn't even think about that depth of like, oh, I hate my job, I don't want to go. It's like, oh, I'm going to work today and I'm going to this job because this is a job that I have.
But it also makes me feel really happy that like we are breaking the generation, like,
Trauma.
You get to be the one that changes everything. Like, what a blessing. What a blessing to be that person.
should we switch to cafecito and chisme?
Cafecito and chisme. Let's do it.
So Pete Davidson is having a baby, if you haven't heard.
And also, why are people so obsessed with Pete Davidson?
Because of, you know why? Because of what Ariana Grande said about him and his schlong.
He has a big I mean,
you know what I think? I think he's like so normal and he's like funny. And I think like people just love a funny guy.
yeah. 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 I mean, I'm happy. I have no feelings about him.
But then they posted a video of them doing like prenatal care. And to me, it looked like they were at their house. So do famous people just get prenatal care at their house?
I thought the same thing. I saw it earlier. Yes. Yes.
I want prenatal care at my house. The heck?
Yeah. Well, you got to be a billionaire. So
I mean, if you're willing to pay for it, you can probably get anything
I guess
at
that's
your house.
get your ass to the doctor. So there was a rumor on an Instagram post that I sent you where they were saying that Shakira might join the Real Housewives of Miami. I don't know how true or false this is, but how do we feel about this?
I'm in shock.
Honestly, I love the Real Housewives of Miami. I think they're freaking crazy.
The fact that Larsa dated Michael Jordan's son and her husband and Michael Jordan used to play together is crazy to me. I don't know how I feel about Shakira doing it. It's like she's a renowned like superstar and it feels a little bit too like above her to do it.
What do you mean below her?
Right.
Below her to do it. So I don't know. I have mixed feelings.
I really doubt it because she's been so private throughout her whole career.
That's
I can't imagine her. I mean, maybe she's doing a cameo, maybe she's performing in it, maybe somebody hired her to come in there and
maybe she'll be a friend of,
right.
Not like
but that would just be weird.
Yeah, I don't know, and that's pretty much it. And then I was listening to a lot of like the Love Island. I know I talk about Love Island every episode. Are you watching, Michelle? Well, it's over now, but like now everybody's going on their little like podcasts and doing their little tours or whatever. And one of the girls, Huda, who was like super emotionally unstable and like you could tell she shouldn't be in a relationship. She needs to heal. She has so much healing to do. And I was listening to her podcast with Call Her Daddy. I do really like Alex Cooper because I think she does really good interviews with people.
I agree.
And she's interviewing her. It's a 2-hour episode, so I'm like slowly working my way. But this girl tells you about her childhood and her upbringing, and it's actually so crazy. Like, she has been through so much. She's a first generation. I think she's from her parents are from Palestine. So it's just like really crazy, her upbringing. And it all makes sense now the way that. And they have a psychologist on the set of Love Island who she was talking to the entire time, which I think was the first time she ever went to therapy. And she's only 25.
With healing, I don't know what some people can do it earlier. For me, it couldn't have happened in my 20s. Like, it needed to have happened in my 30s. Like, my 20s was for all of my mistakes, dating all the fuck boys, breaking my own heart over and over again, moving, trying new things, taking the risks, right? And then my 30s is like settling in and grounding myself and like, okay, who am I now? Who do I want to be? What are the things in the past that I did? Like, what were those behaviors, right? Like patterns. But there's no way I could have, I don't know about you guys, but there's no way I could have been who, like, on my journey outside of being in my 30s.
Yeah. I also feel like first gen people probably feel like they have to grow up quicker.
Yeah.
It's like for her, like a lot of that happened when she was like 16, 18.
That's cultural too. You know, I mean, it's not just first gen, it's cultural. It's a lot.
Yeah. I'll have to listen. Well, I am so thankful that you were able to join us, Michelle. You gave us such great advice, such great things to think about. If you haven't gotten it yet, go and secure your own copy of the journal 100 Days to Self-Love. You can get it on the Kindle. You can get a hard copy. Go to Amazon and get it, and try your own journey of 100 days to self-love. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you guys. Thank you both.
Yeah. Until next time, Primas.
Bye.